Good morning, everyone. For those who don't know, my name's Dan Burke. I'm the CEO of Young HAF Foundation, and it is fantastic to be doing this webinar today, looking at our HAF offer in Harrow and some of our HAF enhancement offers, which should be really exciting. Well, before I launch straight into the HAF offer, I'd like to just introduce a couple of the Young HAF Foundation team that are here to help you throughout the process. So first of all, Christina, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Cristina Garcia and I'm the HAF Lead Program. So more or less what I'm going to be doing is trying to help you to have a successful program over the summer. Thank you.
And Adila, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Adila, and as most of you know, I'm the fundraising manager at Young Harrow, and I will be able to help you with any ideas or proposals or for your applications.
So just to clarify those two roles, just in case there's any confusion. So if it's a clarification question on the guidance or on the application or a specific question about like our food partners or something like that, please go to Christina. She will be able to answer you those. If you want help with writing your bid, please go to Adila, but please be aware Adila does not and will not be speaking to our grants panel, to me or to anyone else about your program. So please don't go to her to try and hope that that's going to give you one step closer to being successful. All we want to make sure is that your application is as clear as possible so we can see as many successful bids go through and that they're not making it just because of a bit of clarity. So that's those two roles. One more member of staff that will be on hand is someone called Keisha, for our venue offer that we'll get to later. So we are going to launch into the HAF offer, and this next hour and a half is going to be a whirlwind. We hope you can keep up. We are recording this, so you'll be able to rewatch it and you'll be able to see the presentation. But because of the amount of stuff we've got to get through, we are going to go through it at some pace. So please use the Q&A as we go through it, because I'm sure there are going to be some questions. So here we go. So if you guys want to turn your cameras off, and we are going to launch into the HAF, the exciting HAF offer. So just to clarify for anyone that wasn't either involved or didn't know anything about it up to this point, this is a DFE funded program helping with a kind of key focus on helping our young people on free school meals have really positive activities over holidays with a meal and hopefully a hot meal. And this is face-to-face activity. You will find all of these three areas with specific things like the target age is to 5 to 16. We are not saying do programs for 5 to 16. What we'd like to see is obviously groups of young people in the right age groupings, but this is a target for 5 to 16-year-olds. The kind of 5 main areas that you just need to be, and we're going to break them down a little bit as we go through today, is this is about healthy food. This is about enriching activities. This is about physical activity. This is about nutritional education. And it is about making sure you as an organization have the relevant policies and procedures in place so that everyone's safe. So the other thing I wanted to quickly mention is we are running 2 funding streams on this. So if you are a school that happen to turn up today, please be aware that we have a schools offer as well. This is completely different. This is in a relationship with us that we'll be working with those schools, and especially schools with the highest levels of free school meals, to run programs specifically with yourselves. So so please be aware that that's there, and that we will be doing that to help you get through. Sorry, I've just noticed my battery is about to die, and some stupid reason I didn't have my battery charger. So I'm going to grab that. While I do that, Christina, would you be able to just quickly highlight these 3 bullet points and what they mean while I grab my charger? Thank you.
No problem. So yes, what we are focusing is in the priorities areas that we need. So provide the highest predicted percentage of children and young people in receipt of free school meals. We are looking for you guys to deliver in one or more of the darkest areas, which indicate in the map, they indicate the high percentage of free school meals. And we are expecting now all the proposals to be creative and enriched programs for children and young people. And that is back, so.
Thank you. So there are Harrow priorities and key priorities that kind of will need to be in place, and we were chatting through with you to make those the priorities. The last thing before we look at kind of the funding application, which is where we've put most of the information. So you'll see it is duplicated across the guidance and the application, so it's really clear. And the reason we're doing that, one main reason, is in the Easter, we want to speed up the process of giving you a successful offer and then having to do the due diligence between giving you the funding. So that's why you'll see a lot of yes or no questions in the application, so that you are prepared. If you're successful, we should be able to speed up your offer and funding to the quickest possible timescale so that you can have the money to deliver. But for the summer, and this is for the council and for the community grants, again, the school programs are in a different funding model, but this one is based on this, and these are giving you a guidance to how much you can apply for. If you want to run a program for 10 to 20 young people, then you can apply up to £2,000. If you want to run it for 25 to 35 young people, it's up to 3,000. 40 to 50, it's up to 4,500, and the list goes on. Be aware that this does not include the meals. So we also give grants for the meals as well, and we'll get to that when we get to the application. But in some cases, that will be anywhere between 500 to 3,500 on top of your grant to deliver. So this is about your ability to deliver the program, and the other part of the money is about the specific meals being provided. In Harrow, we are really conscious and want to make this open, especially for young people with SEND things going on in their life. So if you are a targeted and specialist SEND provider, and it really is if you are specially and exclusively a SEND provider, then you have a slightly different funding offer. So please see that in the guidance so that we can be really clear. The other thing it's worth noting, if you are a provider that would kind of class under this category, then you can communicate with us the 64 hours. So as Christina probably mentioned, and you'll see in the guidance before, there is a requirement for other providers to provide 64 hours worth of program time. If you are under this scheme, you can communicate with us what are the hours that are realistic for you to be able to deliver that is the best option for the young people you're working with. And so you will be able to communicate with us. Just to clarify, we are working with a SEND specialist. They will be in touch with you before the panel, just to make sure that we are totally aware of what's going on for you, so that before the panel happens, just to make sure, especially because of the hours and because of the cost, we just need to know a little bit more information, but someone would be in touch with you before the panel, after you've applied. So let's jump into the application. We're going to show you every page so that I can quickly just run through it all as quickly as possible. So the first section, hopefully you will find nothing. The only reason we're asking if you read all the guidance is because last year during the due diligence process, there are some areas in that guidance that you do need to make sure you're aware. So we're just making sure that you have read it properly. There are 5 policies and procedures we will need to see. Again, last time we didn't ask you to confirm you had them. This time we are, because this is one of the areas we want to speed up the process. Please be aware, you do have to have an up-to-date safeguarding policy. So that includes if your safeguarding policy says it's being reviewed and changed every year, and because of COVID, unfortunately, you haven't reviewed it over the last 2 years, we will have to send that back and ask you to make sure it's being reviewed, because that is what your policy states. So check your policy of your safeguarding, check your health and safety. You will obviously have to have a project risk assessment that we will be needing to see and sign off. You have to have relevant insurance. Again, over the Easter, we found some organizations, because of COVID, the insurance has slipped, probably because the renewal had gone to an office and no one was going to the office. But please be aware that that obviously can then take up time and put more pressure on you, and that we do need to see your equality and diversity kind of policy. So just make sure they're in place, and then it just makes it really easy. Once we offer you, we can speed up the ability to be able to get you your funding. The next one is DBS and safeguarding. This is a new requirement. Even though we were checking over the Easter, there is now an actual requirement to say that everyone working on this program for you will need to have a DBS check and will need to have done safeguarding training. Now, we have partnered with VAR on this, and so any organization that would have members of staff or volunteers doing something that wouldn't have had the safeguarding training, we have organized it so there is a free online training for you for level 1. Our recommendation is anyone delivering specifically with young people should be doing level 2, and we also will make that available for you just before the summer. And we're making all of that free to make sure that there isn't any blockages. But please be aware that that does need to be in place, and your DBS do need to be done as well. So if you don't have a DBS provider to help you do that, again, VAR, and we will be putting all this information on the website and on our emails. We'll be able to help you get those DBSs done as quickly as possible. But we really suggest you get them done before you even apply, just because sometimes there's a timeline of finding that out. So just get that done as soon as possible. Okay, as I said earlier, the funding that is in the grant is not for food. So let's explain what we mean by the food offer on this. So every day you are providing things for young people. Those young people do have to have a meal. We are prioritizing lunchtime. That's the meal we do prioritize because it's the one that works best for most people. We have 3 options. Now we have, the first option is we are working with a food provider. We had 3 over the Easter that then helped us really find one that we worked really well with. And to give you an example, this is the kind of thing you would get. This is the kind of menu that our members got from this provider that you'd be able to work with the young people or the parents or at certain age and they choose what they want for that day, and that is then provided to you as a big group of meals at the exact time, so within the time frame of you being able to keep those meals hot, you can do that with your young people. So that's there, that is organized. That is a really simple one for you to be able to use. So if you'd rather use our supplier, and what would happen is you would say how many young people, you'd work with the supplier, and they would just be able to turn them up every day at your venue, then please say yes to that one. Then you don't need to say yes to the other 2. If you are a provider that provides your own food already, then you can choose number 2, and we would give you a grant of £2.50 per young person per day to be able to do that. But please be aware, it is not a simple process. We have to do quite a lot of due diligence if you do choose this, because we have to keep you to the standards of school kitchens and kind of all those standards. So it's not the easiest process. So if you are not normally a food provider, we probably recommend you don't do it, because due to COVID, there is quite harsh restrictions on this. So please be aware of that before you say yes to that. And then the third option is you might already have a provider because of the work you already do. We're not trying to block that. If that works for you, that's great. We can give you up to £2.50, but be aware, obviously, then we would have to do the check still on that provider and make sure certain things are in place. But then everything past that, any issues, something like that, wouldn't be our responsibility. That would be yours to pay, and changes and stuff like that. So those 3 options, you just choose one of them on the application. The next 3 things are just yes or no. So the first one is, can you provide it for more than 65 hours per young person? Yes or no? Hopefully that is a yes. Obviously, there may be a reason why you need to do it slightly less, and you can communicate with us on that, or you might be doing more, which is obviously great, but we're not expecting you to obviously work every day over the summer for this program. So we just need to make sure that it is hitting the kind of minimum standards for this program. That you currently are delivering services. So this has come out of our Easter. Our most successful programs are those that already had reach into the communities with those kind of from our more poverty areas, or just young people across relationships with schools and others. So we are prioritizing organizations that already deliver and already have reach into the borough, because we saw that the numbers and stats were the most effective. So that's why we asked that question. And the third one is that you have experience of running holiday programs. Now, you might be a specialist provider, never run programs in the holiday. We're not saying you can't apply for this, but we just have to make sure we're working with you to make sure things are in place, because holiday programs sometimes can be, especially for some providers, very different to their normal day-to-day program. So those things are yes or no's, just so that we're aware of where you're up to. You've seen the menu option. You then have 2 kind of just opportunities to boast about yourselves, a bit of your track record of what you've been doing over the last period of time, and your description of the project that you want to do and why you want to do it with the young people you want to do it with. Now, please be aware that, and I will go back to Plan B in a minute, we then ask below these outcomes. These are connected to those 5 priority areas that we talked about before. You do need to tell us about those 5 areas. So don't spend a lot of time in your project description and then duplicate the exact same information into these 5 areas. You know, use this to be a bit more specific. So running through them, you've got eating healthy. Well, we obviously, or someone's providing you a healthy meal. So it's just confirming how you're encouraging that it's going to be healthy food. Are you providing snacks in some of your grants? Are they going to be healthy? You know, what are you doing about making sure this is a healthy option? Being active, please be aware there is a new requirement that you need to do 1 hour per day you're with those young people of physical activity. Now that can be games, that can be sport, but that does need to be physical activity of some sort. So tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing and the things that you're going to be doing. That would be helpful. The enriching activity. So in the East, that included all things like art and drama and all kinds of things. So that really, again, an opportunity just to tell us a little bit more, maybe bullet points of the kind of things you're going to be offering over your program. Being safe and not isolated. Now, we did get some confusion over Easter. So what we're being more specific on this time is not isolated. The things that we're kind of looking for is how young people are just coming out of COVID. They've in many cases outside school, been isolated at home. What are you doing to make it the smoothest possible way for them to feel that they can re-engage with new friends, in new environments? And the being safe for us is about COVID. And there are, obviously there's safety as in the violence issues across London and things like that. And if you want to talk about them, that's fine. But one of the things we would want to see here is how you're keeping young people COVID safe. So are you using a thermometer at the beginning of your program? Are you doing things to make sure things are safe for those young people coming along? And the last one, that you have the knowledge of health and nutrition. Now, just to clarify, we actually provide you a whole load of resources that we've commissioned to give you loads of like games and little sessions to do either over a meal or to do a session with young people. So you will have a whole load of resources, but every day you need to do something that gives your children and young people some knowledge about health and nutrition. So we just want to know what you're thinking. If you're just going to use our material, then obviously this one's quite a short one. But if you're someone that does a lot of this anyway, tell us a little bit about it because we might want to know more about what you're doing. Now, plan B. Over COVID, we have to ask this question now because I don't think, with everything we know, we are expecting that we won't be needing to go into lockdown and we won't be having to reduce back into bubbles. But I don't think there's any way we can guarantee that. And just to clarify, we really are wanting only to fund face-to-face programs. So please make sure this is face-to-face as an offer, unless there's a really good reason. So I know that Easter, the only program we funded online was because they were providing something for young people due to different reasons, couldn't come out of their home. And so we thought, well, actually that's a very good reason for an online activity, but in most cases, face-to-face. Now, plan B is, what we do is if you can give us a rough understanding of if we go back into lockdown or if we are asked to go back into bubbles, what kind of things can you put in place? Because the reason we do this is if you're successful and then unfortunately due to COVID, things go back and there were new restrictions, we can probably go to this question and if possible, we can just okay without having to have loads of dialogue with you, reducing, especially if it's in the middle of your summer program, we don't want there to be a kind of time period where there's no activity. So we'd like to know you've thought about it, but two, it means we can sign it off quicker if that was to happen. So we're not expecting loads here, but we're just expecting an understanding of how would you, if you're, let's say, offering for, I don't know, 90 young people in one hall, obviously if we go into restrictions, you will not be able to offer that. So what are you going to do? How is it going to look? And what would delivery look like? Okay, the parent and carers. Now there is an expectation to engage with parent and carers. If you as an organization do that already, then please carry on doing that. Please support them in any way possible. And if you think you can include more within the budget that we're already doing, as in more delivery, then please tell us about it. But to reduce the issues and stress on you to do more, we've commissioned and we've worked with a load of partners to create a whole load of resources. So parent and carers have resources. We're hopefully having a weekly webinar where there's going to be a chef doing how to cook on a budget that they can sign up and download those videos and get those menus. There's a whole load of things. But all we need you to commit to is sending those out to the parents. And so that's what that confirmation is just saying, yes, we're fine to send that out to parents. If you say no, it's not, again, we can't fund you, but we would want to know why you wouldn't be able to do that. And there might be a very good reason why. Okay, now it's time and opportunity to tell us about the young people you're working with. Obviously, we want this to have as many people on free school meals as possible. The different reasons why that. One is because that is the priority of this program. Also, what Young Harrow Foundation has done is tried to raise money so that people that aren't on free school meals, you can still offer them free places, especially in the areas of the borough that we have poverty or other kind of life-limiting kind of issues going on. So the more people that you apply for that aren't on free school meals, the more that we have to raise and work with other partners on. So the higher the rate, the easier it is for us to make it successful for you. So, and we were doing things to help, like working with schools and kind of making sure that we can do everything we can. But the minimum will be 50%. And obviously we would be liking to see a higher proportion if possible. Next is how many young people that you will be working with. Now, to confirm, is it in the next section? Where does it ask this? Where? Okay, somewhere it asks, and I can't remember where. Somewhere we asked, and sorry, I can't remember where, we asked, is there simultaneous programs going on? The reason for that is we're not against, if you want to run a program, let's say for 5 to 10s, and then another program alongside or kind of weeks afterwards for the 10 to 15s, that is no problem. And we need you to calculate all of those young people onto your program, even though you'll be running them at different times. The reason we asked you the question of, are you doing that, is we need to confirm that all of those places are still offered 64 hours, that you haven't split that into half, because what we need to make sure is that we are funding a 64-hour program for a young person being able to come on. So yeah, tell us how many young people you're going to be offering, kind of give us a predicted amount of how you're broken down in age. That I've just spotted an issue that should be 5 to 10 and it says 5 to 18. So we'll get that changed before it goes live straight after this. The percentage of people on free school meals, and we'll be working with you on that. And what we did find over the Easter is those that had put, let's say 50 or 60 or 70% actually found because of the young people they're working with in the areas that we were prioritizing, their numbers were a lot higher than they had predicted. But please be kind of as accurate as possible. Okay, then you've got the section on the 3 commitments. So just to clarify these, that you are committed to the priorities that we said earlier, that there's nothing there that you're saying you can't do, that your program is open and accessible. I know we funded one organization in the Easter that had to make it a really closed program because of the young people they were working with. Now, in most cases, we are looking for summer programs that are open, that are accessible, and that will be on our website, so we know that we can work with schools to get those referrals through. But please don't think that we're going to do all the work of getting those young people to your services. You do need to work on that yourselves, but we do need to make sure they are open. So those 3 things are kind of really important to us. And the last one is in this section is the send. So if you are applying under the budget for being the special educational needs kind of part of this, then you need to, there's a box here to tell us more about the young people you're working with, so that the person that's working with us on this section can work with you to make sure that we think that's absolutely fair, and that we've done everything we can to support the young people you're working with. Okay, these 4 questions. How many hours of delivery in total will you offer? And obviously this is a guesstimate, because hopefully you've planned it, but things might slightly change, and we understand that, but we do need to know how many hours you're thinking you're providing, how many days per week, and how many weeks of the holiday are you going to be. So for instance, you might say, we're going to do this over 14 days, we're going to do this 4 days each week, and we are going to do that over, what was that, 4 weeks, that would be. You might do it be less, you might be doing more, but we just kind of need to know how that looks for you. And this is the question I was looking for. Are you planning to run simultaneous programs? So that is the question, is if you are running Mostly it was to do with age over the Easter, but if you're running programs alongside each other, we just need to be aware of that, just so that we can clarify with you that all the young people signing up would still be able to get a whole course, but you've got different courses running at the same time, which we're absolutely supportive of. If you can, through to Human Resources, do that, then please do that. We'd love to help that. We then get to the budget. We try to be as open as we can. We've given you in the guidance some kind of rough up to figures. Use that to tell us about what you're going to use that funding for. Obviously, if you're doing the over 80 people, that is £11,500. So all the way down to £2,000. But we need you to break it down a little bit. So if you've got staff costs, please don't just say staff costs this much. Please tell us how many staff, what is their hourly rate, and how many hours you're going to do it, just so we can kind of see your breakdown. If you're providing like activity costs, in brackets, tell us the kind of things you'll be buying. We don't need you to be like, we're going to spend £20 specifically on paper, but there might be like stationery or art or whatever it is. But please be it so our panel can be clear on what we're spending the money on, because we obviously need the money to be as effective as possible for great activities for these young people. And then the last one is the food. Now, if you've chosen using our food provider, you do not need to fill in this section. This is only if you've chosen either yourselves or another food provider is going to be doing this. You do need to answer the budget of how that would look and what are those costs, so that we're aware of them. And then you're finishing with a nice, easy, we have taken off the signature. We used to ask you to sign an application. Due to issues over COVID and even the Easter, people having to get someone to sign it, and there was an issue of people coming together, we've decided to say, just write the name of the person responsible that can give authority for you applying. On your offer letter, we use an online signature thing, so we can send that to the same person for their signature, and we'll do that at the offer letter stage rather than your application. So please make sure they know about this, because otherwise they're getting that offer and they'll be a bit surprised. But we hope that's pretty clear. We're going to now have a time of Q&A. So I'm going to jump off. So if you haven't used the Q&A option before, I'm just going to stop that for a second. Please do. We've only got a couple here, so we're going to start here. Great. So the first question is around the area. So about specific postcodes and where exactly counts for these areas. Now, one of the things the council are working on is maybe showing you where in the guidance, in the guidance, just to make you aware, you have a map and you will be able to see where the darker areas. And straight after this, you'll be emailed and it'll be on our website, so you'll be able to see it. So it is in the guidance, the actual map of where those key areas are. And the darker the area, the more we see more poverty and people on free school meals. So obviously, we'd like to fund more things going on in the dark areas all the way through. The lightest areas are those that haven't seen that in Harrow, so we'll have kind of less priority. You will see that in the guidance, and hopefully that is clear. We might be sending a map out, breaking it down a little bit more, but at the moment that is in the guidance. So please use the Q&A if there's any other questions. Hopefully we've been as clear as possible. Here we go, we've got a couple. So we've got a question here about the hourly rate, well, the hours per person. So thanks, Phil, for the hours. We are, obviously there's a pressure of this being as wide as possible. We're going to go on to the HAF enhanced offer in a minute that gives you a lot more. So obviously the grant is one section. The funding for the food is also included on this. And the other pieces of work that we've been doing to give you more of an offer is also included in cost and offers. So that all builds up to your specific offer. But like your question is how can we have reduced it to that amount of money per hour? Obviously, you can work with us. If there are specific restrictions on you because of different needs, then you can communicate with Christina about the pressures of being able to have to deliver in certain ways. But we are this summer needing our target that we've been asked to do is 3,000 young people, and we have to try our hardest to make that possible. So it's obviously Easter we gave more for the grants because we felt that because of COVID and because of all the other pressures, we wanted to be more generous. For the summer, we're having to have more organizations deliver a lot more young people. but please keep us up to, I know, Phil, your carers, there's a whole load of other responsibilities going on for those young people. So by all means, everything we do is always in a conversation. So you can speak with Christina and have a conversation with her if there's specific needs around the budget requirements. So the questions around the Harrow residents. This is a priority for Harrow residents or young people that are going to education in Harrow. These are the young people that need to come to your program that are signing up. So yes, they are the priorities. Now, if, for instance, you're running a program for 80 young people and 2 just slip in that are just outside that, we are not going to claw the funding back from you. But what we need to do is make sure that your advertising and your program is really clear that this is a Harrow-based offer. In the same way as one of the things I didn't clarify is, even though we're asking you to get to, so let's say you apply for 40 young people, you get 40 booked on, and that's fantastic, and you've got a good percentage of people on free school meals. Like a third the way in, you might start to see a bit of a drop off. We would encourage you to try and fill those places, because we are wanting as many young people to get the benefit, and we'd rather not those numbers go down. So one of the things we are offering is a third the way through, you communicate to us how it's going, because if your numbers have grown, then what we would do is we'd help you with more funding for the meals, so that make sure that all those young people are getting those meals, in case you underestimated the success of what you were delivering. The other side of that, just to make sure it's clear, it does show it in the guidance, is we are giving you 50% of your grant, especially, and the larger the amount, the more we're worried about that, up front. So you'll get that before you start anything, you'll be getting that 50% of the grant. A third the way through, we will then ask for, how is it going? Can we see your numbers? If you're seeing a significant difference, and especially a significant down, we will communicate with you about your other 50%, because, for instance, if you apply for 80 and only have 10 people there, then we still need to provide this service for 3,000 people. So we would need to use some of that funding to get someone else to do more delivery. So we're not trying to punish people. This is not a payment by results, but it is a model that you need to, as well as possible, be accurate on your numbers and work with us, communicate with us all the way through, so that we can make sure it is the best offer possible. Hope that makes sense. So thank you, Hayley. She's asking about the 64 hours. $64 hours seems a lot. It does seem a lot, Hayley. We understand that. Please, like I said before, that is our, we would like to see that being the minimum. If there is a reason why that can't happen, then again, we want you to communicate with us. Everything we're doing, and the council is committed to this as well, we want the best provision available in the borough for children and young people. So if for some reason something is slightly less or slightly different, then you just communicate with us. And we'd like to see as many organisations providing a unique offer all over the borough. And hopefully with the HAF offer that we're about to show you, that gives you more ability to do more. So hopefully, and again, Hayley, please speak to Christina if there is a real concern around those 64 hours, so that we can be really clear of what that is. And we do understand it there. For the summer, that is quite a lot of hours. That is the requirement from this funding. That's what we need to try and stick to, but please speak with us and speak to the team. Okay, we've got time for one more question, and then we're going to move on to the next thing. So the match funding, yes, thank you, Terry, for the question around the match funding. We definitely are going to support you with this. So one of the things we've actually actively encouraged is something we're calling the HAF Enhanced. So we work with some funders, so you can apply for more funding, you can apply for space, which we're just about to show you. But also, if you've got other funders that might give you funding for the summer, then yes, we want you to get that funding. But what we need to know is the funding we're giving you can help you deliver that program. The reason we've called everything else HAF Enhanced is what we expect is then you can do even more. So for instance, you wouldn't be able to say, yeah, we can do 64 hours, and then you're unsuccessful with another funder and come back to us and say, oh, now I can only do 30 hours. But what we'd hope to see is you can do the 64 hours, but because of other funding, you can now do more arts programs, you can maybe do some trips, You can go into places that you wouldn't normally do. And we really want to see that. We want to help you. That's why Adila's here. We're committing some time to that to help you get more applications and make your summer program larger. So yes, we are actively supporting it. So please go ahead, apply. If it helps, use our name to say we are applying for this, and we are hoping a very high success rate. So please use our name and the HAF kind of program so that it lets funders know that you are definitely, hopefully, going to be doing something over the summer, as long as there's not issues or there's something, the reason we can't fund you. But we hope that would help. There is a good one from Savan, so I'll just quickly touch that as well. So this has to be over the summer holidays. So that is, I can't exactly remember what the date is of the summer holidays, but it's I think the second week or third week of July, all the way through to the end of August. So your activities have to be in that period. It can't be in term time. So this does need to be in that. And again, I know you've not seen the guidance. We've done that on purpose because we wanted you to be the first one to know about it. Straight after this, you'll be sent the guidance for all of the great things that are coming up so that you can see it and be totally aware of it. Okay, there are a couple more, but we're gonna, if it's okay, we will write these down and make sure they're open and accessible. But we are going to move on to what we have called the HAF enhanced offer. So the HAF enhanced offer is, we have been working with a number of partners to try and make sure, we know we would love to give you more funding, and that's what we would love to be doing. But due to the funding requirements plus the amount we've got, we can't spread it as far and wide as we would like. But what we can do is do things to help you do even more. So the first one of the HAF offer, HAF enhanced offer, is our venue space. So we have worked with Harrow School and John Lyons. We have been able to open their buildings up for 6 weeks. It's worth about £25,000 worth of asset space that you don't have to hire. Now, again, in your application, in case you aren't successful with what you apply, if you do apply to use the space here, because again, it's a slightly different application, just because if someone isn't on HAF but does want this opportunity, we are not restricting it only to HAF funded organizations, because we want as many young people over the summer to get programs. As you will see, the spaces here are amazing. You will see from and the application is very similar, but reduced to the HAF program. But you'll see the kind of spaces that are on offer. You would tick which ones you'd really like, how many days you'd like it. There's a lot of, as you can see, a lot of outdoor space. There's an indoor program space as well. But that is totally free if you are successful in getting those spaces. So that's the first one, trying to help you. And just to clarify as well, everything that you are successful in getting a space here, and hopefully have a lot of space, so we really can support a lot of groups on this, includes the lunch. So if you provide something more or just outside the HAF, then we would still provide the lunch, but the school is providing for those meals. But it's a fantastic partnership, and we really are thankful the Harrow School and John Lyons School supporting us on this HAF enhanced offer. So you will get that by an email. Please apply to that. That one's, so the application for the HAF, our main grants, is the 10th of June. The application for this is the 4th of June. So please make sure that you're aware of that. Don't wait till the 10th, because that panel, and the reason it is before, is just so before the panel for HAF, we might be able to have a discussion with you. Oh, let's say you've applied for 10 days of a venue, but you've also applied here and you've been successful getting 5 days here. Do you want to reallocate your budget for that 5 days to be able to do something else? We're not going to be taking the money off you. We would just encourage you to reallocate it to be able to do more what you want to do. But that's the first HAF offer. Our second HAF offer, and this is where Adila will be joining us, is we've been working with John Lyons. Unfortunately, you would need to be a registered charity or CIO to be able to apply for this, but they have a 4K grant that you can apply, and we've been chatting with them, and Adila's going to quickly just go through the guidance really briefly on this so that you are totally aware, and Adila is there to help you so we can get as many of our HAF charities getting one of these grants as well, and we'll be working with John Lyons to try and make that possible. But it really allows you to extend your ability to deliver. So Adila.
Thanks very much, Dan. So if we can just go on to the first slide about eligibility. As Dan said, we are trying to encourage all of you to do as comprehensive a summer programme as you can and get as much funding as you can from local charities as well as HAF. So for those of you who don't know John Lyons Charity, we work a lot with them. They are aware of HAF, so we are hoping they will be making their own decisions, obviously, but we want you to mention HAF to say what you're doing in the local area, and hopefully you can do an enhanced programme, as Dan was saying. So for John Lyons, you do have to be a registered charity or a mainstream state school, and you do have to be in one of the beneficial areas, Harrow being one of them. So for us, that is the area that you're in. They do work with children and young people up to the age of 25. And as you would expect for a registered charity, you'd have to have a bank account, annual report. And the last thing on this slide is that if you're already in receipt of another grant, a main grant or a small grant from John Lyons, that doesn't stop you applying to this school holiday application fund. So that's really important to know that you can apply in addition to. Now, what the school holiday activity fund, now we're talking about the summer activities. It does run all through the year for Easter, Christmas and the summer holidays. And it's all about fun and accessible activities for children. Apply for the of the activities that you're doing. So the examples that I've listed on the slide there, things like sports, arts, drama, community, these are just examples. They're very open to anything that is going on in the local area that's accessible and fun for local children. The maximum grant you're allowed to apply for is £4,000, and you will be expected to provide a budget for that. It's a very simple application process, and as Dan said, this is where I come in, that if you do require help with this process, I'm here to help you with the bid, talk about budgets, what you're wanting to put into your proposal. So do contact me if you want to do that. You have to go into their portal, register, and it's a very simple process. Talking about deadlines, there's another one in June. This is the first of the 3 offers. So the others were the 4th and the 10th. For John Lyons, it's the 1st of June, and your delivery has to be start after the 19th of July, because as Dan said, that's the majority of schools when the summer holidays start. The last paragraph very briefly is just that, as Dan was saying, that you do have to have a plan B. We're all hoping that restrictions are going to go and we are all going to be able to do face-to-face activities, but they do expect you to fill in an alternative programme if things do change. And this is something that John Lyons will ask you about, and there's a particular table that you have to complete. Now, this is just a very brief summary. As I said, it's a simple application, and these are the main questions that you will be asked in this application. So basically about your organisation, your aims, what you do, who are the people that you're helping, and then about the project in particular, the aims of that it is you're trying to achieve, the activities you planned. Are they art? Are they physical activities? Are they sport? And why it's needed, you know, so why you're looking to do these activities for the children, and also the plan, when you're going to do it, how long, how many days. The third part of it is the participants, which is obviously the children and the young people who are going to benefit, and how many, who they are, where are they coming from. And the final part of it, which is a little bit detailed, but not expected to be very complex, a simple budget about, as Dan was saying, for the HAF programme, you know, stating your sessional workers, what equipment you're going to buy, is there going to be sports equipment? So just briefly detailing all of those, and the financial position of your charity, the details, so, you know, your accounts they will expect to have as well. And that's finally, it's the details I've put on there. As Dan said, I am available to help you with any applications for the John Lyons application and for HAF. And as Dan said, I am not on the panel and I have no sort of say in the decision making. So I am really here just for members to help them do the best application they can. And if I've put Christina's details as well, because any, as Dan said, any questions on the HAF programme itself should go to her.
Thank you, Dila. And then the last offer, just to make you aware of, so we do have some other HAF enhancement offers, but they will be going live once we know the organizations that have been successful. That includes some businesses maybe giving some family offers out, and maybe some other just HAF offers that we are, using our ability and our kind of, standing in the borough to try and unlock some other opportunities, because hopefully there's loads of organizations and loads of things going on that we want to be able to give you more, including an exciting discussion with the London Marathon Trust and with London Sport to give you maybe some certificates for physical activity and stuff like that. Some exciting things that you will find more about if you're successful. The other thing we want to make you aware of, we are Young Harrow Foundation alongside VAR and the Harrow Council are also giving out these Harrow COVID awareness grants at the moment. These are unrestricted £2,000 grants. We will put them in the email. And the reason why we're showing this today is this is about you having a grant for the summer for £2,000 to work with young people to communicate, to create some communication campaigns of how important it is that we come out of COVID as strong as we can. Obviously, the vaccine is a key priority for that, but you will be able to, depending on who you're working with, if you're working with a certain community or another kind of mother tongue language or all kinds of things, you might have get young people involved in a video project, then this grant is there. We are sitting on the panel. I've already stated, we want to prioritize organizations that have a HAF because we know they're already going to be doing some great things over the summer. So if that £2,000 would also help, and you want to use some of your enriching activities to get young people communicating and having a good message around kind of coming out of COVID stronger, then also apply to that. That finishes on the 19th of May. So actually that is the first one that you would need to apply for. That grant, we've been able to make it so it's totally unrestricted. You don't even need to tell us how you use that budget. That's completely up to you. So please be aware that's there. All these offers means that if you go for a really small group, you would be kind of looking at the £5,000 to £7,000 worth of offer, all the way up to, if you're going for a large group, if you kind of apply for the venue bank, if you use some of these other things, it's nearly about £20,000. So worth of support from venue space and stuff like that. So we really hope that helps. We really hope that it gives you the tools to be able to provide some really positive activities for young people this summer. And really what I want to finish with is a kind of a play. We want to work with you. We know a lot of you already offer programs over the summer. We are not trying to box you to work completely differently. We just need to make sure there are some things in place so that we can give you some funding and you can help those young people have a more nutritious by meals, a more enriching and kind of an opportunity to learn nutritional education. We hope that really does give you some resource to do more this summer, to support more this summer. Christina and the team are here to communicate with you. If anything we've said is, and once you've seen the guidance, whether it's the hours, whether it's something specific, then just communicate with us. We try our hardest to make sure that everything we do, if we understand it in a more effective way, then we can make sure the bid is clear so the panel can make the best decisions to get the best offers this summer for children and young people, for 3,000 children and young people, which is amazing. And the last point that I didn't say, but it wasn't the application, is be aware that one of the things we've really committed to, and we want you to commit to, is social media. We're not doing that because we just want to be, wow, look at us, or look at you. What we want to do is make sure the messaging is about how great young people are and how amazing it is to see young people smiling, to get young people together, that we are trying to get young people out the doors and having fun after a pretty nightmare 2 years or a year and a half of being isolated at home and not being able to socialize, not being able to do some of this great stuff. So that's why we ask you to commit to at least one post a week on social media. One of the HAF enhancement, the business, might be that we'll be able to provide some like little competitions on social media for the summer, but again, you'll know more about that when it comes to it. If there's any specific questions, so obviously we're not going to go back and look at the HAF, we're going to do those questions based on the written. If anyone's got any questions around the HAF Enhance, then please, this is your opportunity to kind of ask any now, while anyone's having a think of that, Christina or Adila, especially Christina, you've not said that much. Is there anything you think I've missed that you would like to emphasize?
No, Dan, I think you touched everything. Just a little point that the £2.50 for food has to include the delivery as well. So please have that in mind. And that please communicate with us. We are here to help you. We just want to have a successful program for these families and kids and support the community. And I think we have a good Easter program, and the success was the communication, working together, all the organizations, supporting each other and sharing learning from it. I think that's the best way forward. So please do contact me if you have any question about the guidelines. I am here to help.
I think based on one of the questions that I didn't answer, the 46 hours, again, we really do support match funding. So if you're already running a program and you feel this can run with that and deliver more because of it, then please just let us know, like how this whole program can just enhance what you're already offering. We're not trying to make you do something brand new just for doing something brand new. We want there to be an ability to deliver. So yeah, please just let us know if that is the case. Well, somehow, which is amazing, if there isn't any questions about the HAF Enhance, we've been able to finish a half an hour early. That probably means I spoke so quickly, people aren't quite sure what I just said. But like I said, we have recorded today. You will be getting a recording of this and the PowerPoint, along with the guidance and the application of the different offers. Thank you to DFE for being here today. I know they're on the call. Thank you for Howard Council being here and for the support of us doing this together. And thank you especially to all you organizations. We have 33 sign up today to be able to look at applying. So we hope that most of you, for different reasons, will apply. And we will work with you as effectively and as well as possible to make sure that we have the highest success rate of those. We don't want you to waste your time. That's why it's really great to have that chat with Christina. Don't just write a bid. Other one is, please get your bid in. Don't feel you've got to wait to the deadline. Again, we are a relationship funder. So once you apply, it won't go to the panel, it will go to Christina. She'll be able to review it. Rather, if we've got time, if you can give it to us like a week early, then Christina can come back to you and say, just so you're aware, this section here isn't clear. Do you want to just clarify it, because the panel then it's easier for the panel to make a decision. So don't wait to that deadline. If you can get it in early so that Christina can make sure that it's as clear as possible, again, making it as successful as possible. So Young Howard Foundation is here to help. Please use us as you will. Thank you so much for everyone joining. And we hope together we really are going to run an amazing summer holiday. Have a fantastic day, everyone, and we will see you very soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks very much.